So our first discussion this morning is Destination Rhode Island. I'm happy to introduce Mark Brodeur. He's the Director of Tourism for Rhode Island Commerce, and he's going to share some insights on everything that Rhode Island has to offer in terms of destination and tourism, to include some of those attributes that speak to the yachting community. I know I was told this morning that Mark's been an awesome partner already by introducing other partners and local businesses to the group. We appreciate that. So Mark, if you'll come on up and share some knowledge with us. Yeah. There we go.
Thank you so much, Neil, and thank you for being here in Rhode Island. This has been the most fun. The Rhode Island luxury product has existed for decades, but our ability to tell you about it is something that's very new. As you know, in putting itineraries together for our destination, it pretty much has been, we throw the yellow pages at you. Good luck, have at it. That is the relationship that we're looking to change here. Is this, can you hear me? Yeah. Should I put this closer? There we go. Okay, great. So we're really working to put together an integrated opportunity so that you can, after today, once we inspire you to sell the destination, have a place to go and learn. So what we're doing a couple of things. One, we're creating a magazine that we're going to share with dock masters and ship captains so that they will know all of the various type of personal and private experiences that are available. Secondly, we have a web page that's already been built, but it needs to be polished a little bit, that have all of these, and I'll be sharing the URL with you, have all of these experiences, and it will be a live place. At the moment, we have about 15 opportunities, but there's literally, as we go through the presentation today, there's at least 50 that I can think of that will help make people or help you sell the destination to your particular market. So one of the things in selling Rhode Island as a luxury destination, or New England in that matter, it certainly isn't a Dubai. It's not new, it's not polished, it's not the best in today's architecture. It is authentic. We're a 300-year-old destination, so everything we do is cloaked in that. Your New England luxury experience is authentic. But we want to make sure that you can come here and you can relax, or don't. Take a 30-second look at some of the stuff going on in Rhode Island. So some of the things, accolades that Rhode Island has, we are the sailing capital of the world. Not because a 59-year-old bald man is telling you that. I'm in marketing, I will. It's because we have the most consistent winds in the world. So the important thing is that we have people that come here and make sure that they're immersed in this opportunity. In addition, we have the International Tennis Hall of Fame here. We have America's only remaining wooden seaport. What does that mean? That when the British came here to America, the East Coast, they kind of left and burnt the place down. They didn't burn us down. So it's authentic that our houses that are in the neighborhood just here is over 300 years old. And a lot of this is exciting to hear, but it's the interpretation of these types of wonderful opportunities that make it exciting for your client. So we're going to go through a couple of things here. And again, Rhode Island's luxury offerings. And we want to integrate in the website, and I don't have all of it together, we want to make sure that we show hotel and inn experiences for that pre and post. We don't stay in a Ritz-Carlton in Newport. You're going to stay in a home that belonged at one point to the Astor family or belonged to the Vanderbilts. These are the type of experiences that we want your client to make sure that they, okay. I think I'm doing this right. I think if we just, oh, there we are. Great. It's going to work. It's just making sure I point it in the right direction. So one of the things is getting here, and when we're here, where can we go? So we have partners like Tradewind and Aviation at the local airport. Your client certainly can fly in on their private jet if they'd like, or also at the airport, you can, if they so choose, there's an opportunity to jump out of an airplane. That's one of the experiences that we'll have on our website as well for those that are looking to do skydiving. Not typically my pursuit. I have enough trouble just walking, but I think that it certainly is a great opportunity for your groups. But one of the, oh boy, let's see if I can make this a little bit smoother. There we go. And then the opportunity, on the website we'll be listing, most of you met Betty Check, but there's a Rogue tour where they talk about all of the things that have happened in Rhode Island's interesting past. As well. So there's different ways, and the ship's captains and on our website as well, you'll see how you can book these hour-long or 3-day experiences. Most of them do include vehicles of different types. We'll see that Jaguar Tours is in here as well. I think if I just stand here. But not just Rhode Island, most everything, not just Newport, but everything is fairly close. You can make your way over the bridge to South County. South County is where we have our beautiful ocean beaches and great opportunities there. Or Block Island, which is just 10 miles off of our coast. You can bring your ships. I know that many of our local charter brokers have experiences where you moor up to the dockage in Block Island, and there we have, there are no chains. The last major hotel was built in 1884, and there are over 429 species of migrating birds and all different types of interpretation. For those clients you have that are interested in nature, Rhode Island really is a refuge. So you'll see on the website where there are opportunities to work directly with professionals in giving personal and private tour to these sanctuaries. One of the things we experienced on Monday were the 12-meter yachts. Rhode Island, as you know, is the place where you'll find the New York Yacht Club. The America's Cup took place here for almost 60 years. And we have remnants of that everywhere. There are regattas going on a weekly basis here, but one of the great experiences was the opportunity to get on an actual 12-meter, which were used in the 60s. We suggest that you offer these to your clients. We just did the actual harbor here, but on the 12-meter, you can go up the bay, you can go out to the Brenton Point that is here as well. They'll do an interpretive tour from and also you can choose or the crew, to be the crew or to just sit back and enjoy the view. So the 12-meter experience certainly is a great thing. And then there's our museums that we have here are authentic, and for instance, going to the Sailing Museum last night, you were in a 100-year plus armory, and that is our newest experience at the moment. But definitely the Audrain, or we also have the Newport Car Museum. The Newport Car Museum, Auto Museum, has 90 automobiles. Some of them, they have a Mustang that's worth like $7 million. They also have a simulated room that you can go into and drive a race car anywhere in the world on any track. They do private tours as well, where the actual guide will talk about each of the cars to the interest of the particular client that's come in. They also have at the Newport Car Museum a pro golf experience where they'll teach you, they have a pro on that will teach you tips on how to improve your golf game. It really is, the guy, it's a fun guy. He lived here on Bellevue Avenue. He had these cars, and he just wanted to do something to show them off. So he ended up building this whole experience, which is wonderful. The same thing happens at the Audrain, which we went to on Monday. And that's kind of a fun exhibit that changes over. They have 350 cars. That's the one where Jay Leno is really very much involved. And then we also went to the International Tennis Hall of Fame. So you may win at Wimbledon, but it's here in Newport that you're inducted for life into this wonderful sport in memory. So the fun thing there, you can actually book time on those grass courts. You can have a pro, you can have a class with a pro for the afternoon or for an hour. And they also have, it's also the Hall of Fame for croquet, which it's a fun thing if you've got 10 or 12 people to have a croquet game on their lawn. So we will make sure, again, in the description and in the contact, if your group is looking for something to do onshore that's a little bit different, maybe it's their second time here or they're here for an extended stay. If they're into golf and they're into tennis and or looking to do something with a family, that certainly is a great experience. So the museum experience here is definitely unique in that it offers a authentic location. So some of the stays as well, when you're here in Newport, the Chandler is on Cliff Walk. Now we talked about Cliff Walk a little bit. It's 3.5 miles long. It was there before the mansions were built, and it really is one of the world's most spectacular destinations. It is our #1 destination in Rhode Island. More than 2 million people enjoy the Cliff Walk annually. Now, Betty Check, the travel guide that we were talking about, the one that guided the tour for us, does a walking tour that's also available. So you would offer this as, oh, you're staying in Newport, make sure you get onto the world-famous Cliff Walk. And if you want a guide, we can provide one for you as well. But along the walk, you'll find things such as the Chandler. And the Chandler belonged to the Astor family. Unfortunately, he goes down in the Titanic and never really gets to live in the house. But today, the experience, every room is thematic in the former mansion. You can go in, you can stay in the Queen's room, or there's a Gothic room. But there's lovely dining available at Cora, 5-star. This was just made a 5-star location. So one of the things that we'll do are these wonderful inn experiences, but also dining experiences that are unique to Rhode Island. Oops, what did I do? There we go. And then you've all gone into the mansions. Now we know there's two important, we talked about the colonial period here, and a lot of that comes from the triangle trade. And what we have here, in just the neighborhood that we're in here, this is called the Historic Point. And before there was manufacturing, we had what we call crafters that made every single individual item. So that comes from here. I'm going to talk about an opportunity to enjoy some of the merits of that era. But then comes the Gilded Age, and most of you went into the breakers. But at the Newport mansions, they are now creating experiences that were not available in the past to this luxury market. First of all, there are personal tours. These tours actually have a personal guide that will bring you through the house during the day. Now, we experienced that with 40 people. It's kind of hard to imagine that it is an easy thing to do, but when you have a group of 6 or 8, it is the perfect setting for that. There's also private tours which you can arrange before the mansions open or after they close at the end of the day. What we found, and this is what got me interested in this whole market and speaking to Missy in the very beginning, we couldn't get enough guides to do this. This is such a popular tour. So pay the money to come in before it opens or after it closes. Because what happens inevitably is this guy decides, well, this isn't open to the public, but take a look in this closet. Or, and you learn something different. It is that personal touch that's so necessary. The other thing that's happening, one of the mansions, the Elms, has the most spectacular gardens from the Gilded Age, designed by Olmsted. They have what they call follies or pavilions that are beautifully situated in the sunken gardens. Today they do a tea. So you can actually arrange to do a tea in these particular garden houses. Or lunch on the lawn at the Breakers. Or brunch at the Chinese tea house at Marble House. You've all seen the photos of that wonderful tea house that was put together by Alva Vanderbilt Belmont for suffrage. Today you can actually go and have a wonderful brunch just cloaked by 100-year-old history plus. Oh. We're going to get this to work. Here we go. The other one, now you're all familiar with the Preservation Society, but this woman in history is one that you might not be. I know Missy was because she was her client. Doris Duke, the Duke tobacco heiress, was the richest woman in the world. And when I grew up, Rough Point, which was her home, had barbed wire that in darkened gates that you couldn't see in. When she dies in 1995, she leaves all of it open to the public. She's the one who really begins the restoration of colonial Newport. To that point, everything was kind of deteriorating through the 60s, and now we have a fabulous, she paid $10,000 for some of these houses and put $150,000 worth of work in them in 1970. So you can imagine it would be almost $1 million worth of restoration today. Her house, Rough Point, has $1 billion in her original furnishings and art that she purchased as she traveled throughout the world. Now you can imagine she lived in a time where there was no protection for antiquities. Today you're not allowed to do that. So when she was on her honeymoon from her first of 4 marriages, she met Gandhi. There are things in the home. She has a Renoir in her bedroom. When I had the tour of the house in 1995 after her death, the dogs were still there in the house. And Mr. Cabral, who was her caretaker, gave me the tour of the house. Today, it's like $350. They will do a private tour for you there. Yeah. To me, and again, it's just, she also owned where Cedar Sinai Hospital is on Fifth Avenue in New York. It's the big Greek temple. That was her childhood home. So one of the experiences, and again, she was very interested in making sure that people understood history. Here we go. And one of the things the Restoration Foundation has done recently, and this is brand new, it's just opening. This was the house that Rochambeau, he comes. Newport is occupied for 3 years by the British. And it's the French troops, 6,000 of them, that land here, and the British go running out the door. He stayed for 2 years in Vernon House. Vernon House has just had an archaeological dig of sense, and they found the original drawings and things that were important during that particular time. The Restoration Foundation is doing a private tour at this point of Vernon House. This is located up on the hill here in Newport. And most of us, I've never been in it. I'm very excited to see what it's about. But they've now spent 3 years restoring it, and it's just set to open the end of this season. Oops. Okay, come on. There we go. This is a Townsend Goddard desk. And the reason I spoke to you about the point section over here, the Townsend and the Goddard family, great clockmakers, all were making these furnishings and whatnot here. Every city in America becomes industrialized. In Rhode Island, for instance, we had 1,000, between Rhode Island and Massachusetts, mills in the cotton in mass production. But these pieces of art today can be found in one of the houses that were purchased by Doris Duke at Whitehall. Whitehorn is located right on Thames Street. And a Townsend Goddard desk just sold at Christie's for $15 million. The whole house is furnished early American furnishings. If you have clients that are high-end, that are really interested in art, in American furnishings, this is a great place for them to go. And again, all of these experiences are managed through the Restoration Foundation and are available. The other thing, we're all interested in food, every possible way that you can enjoy food. We spoke about the Chandler. The Chandler offers a cooking class with a 5-star chef. The Ocean House offers something very similar as well. But here in Newport, we have the foodie tours. And there is a version that any guy can just go up to during the day, and they take 15 people around, and they have what they call a progressive meal. They go from restaurant to restaurant to restaurant, and along with alcohol as well. At the end of the day, you have a full meal, but you're also learning the history, because every house, every building has a story. Staying at the White Horse Tavern that's over here, it is the oldest tavern in America continuously operating. Not only are you having white linen, tablecloth, high-end, a very skilled chef that's going to provide a meal, But this particular house, you're going to learn how George Washington was here and how the tavern in American colonies were about 30 miles apart, because that's where a stagecoach, how long it took, about 30 miles a day, you could move on to your next destination. And this was ours and has been beautifully preserved. So those are the intricate stories that we're going to make sure that we're telling, and it'll be easy for you to tell as well. Rhode Island Red will put together a tour for you for your special groups and bring them privately to each of these restaurants as well. And they'll cater to the likes. One of the fun neighborhoods that we have here in Newport, you've all been down on the waterfront, and that's interesting, is what we call the Broadway section. And there, 8 of the top 20 restaurants, according to Yelp, are located there. Many of them are the kind of heavy, kind of tavern-y foods. It could be Spanish foods, all kinds of fun things that you can find in that neighborhood. That's the thing. It's all about exploration and keeping the client excited. You all learned about McGrath Clam Bake, and this is one of the experiences that you can find a place here in the Bay. Many of you know better than I do. I'm surprised at what I'm learning from the team here that are booking experiences where you can pull over that wonderful yacht to a sandy area, and McGrath will come and provide an authentic clam bake. They also will deliver a clam bake to the boats right here in the harbor. So these types of things are great. One of the other things I was learning from one of our clients here is we have Wallace and Carpenter, and I just thought about them this morning. They do a dinner on a sandbar in South County that you could pull up to. So I'm going to follow. They do it typically a couple of times a year, but I'm hoping that they will provide this experience to your clients as well. So those types of things, if you ask me about them, I'm going to help develop that for you. So it all has to happen within 2 hours, because that's when high tide and low tide happen. Everything comes in, everything is built there on the sandbar, and then everything is taken away. An experience to remember for a lifetime. So these are the types of things, along with your local guide, the local food purveyor for the lobster that they're going to be great. I'm going to make sure we create more experiences for you like that as well. And then I'll actually do recommended experiences. They will do the lobster bake on Rose Island Light, at Rose Island Lighthouse, and at Fort Adams as well. Just for you. So it's something that can easily be arranged. Now, last night we learned about another partner, and again, when I remember, I'm 33 years with the state, which I actually know when I look in the mirror for sure. The Ocean House is truly one of the most luxurious experiences in the world. This is located just 45 minutes from here in Westerly, Rhode Island. Actually, Taylor Swift lives next door. She's just purchased a $37 million mansion there. But you can see this house, which was built in 1889 as a beautiful hotel, was restored in 2010 by Chuck Royce of the Royce Fund. He lived in the neighborhood, and they were scheduled to tear it down to build mini mansions. He's like, no, we're going to save this experience. In this, the most posh Uma Thurman, I heard last night, was speaking to the salesperson. She's going to be coming for 5 weeks to stay here. The rack rate is almost $2,000 a night, and they always do enjoy 100% occupancy. The major suite is $140,000. It has 6 bedrooms and just spectacular. Private beach. They do lobster. They have a champagne bar, a garden, and again, they also, for your clients that are coming on a day experience, can go down there, and the 5-star chef will bring them into their cooking and culinary school. They're associated with 2 other, and then we have the Weekapaug Inn, which was built in 1938. It just had a $45 million restoration. And one of the fun things that they have there are, they have an environmentalist. And that is the big thing in New England as well. What is our ecology? And it's all about that interpretation. There are 39 estuaries, and how all of them react. We have URI here. It's one of the #1 marine biology schools in the world. Ballard is here. Ballard, of course, is the guy who finds the Titanic. So a lot of our businesses are spurred from the educational opportunities. We graduate about 89,000 college students a year in Rhode Island. We graduate more college students than high school students. So the universities actually offer some wonderful opportunities as well. We'll make sure that we include them. But certainly the environmental cruise at Weekapaug and the culinary experience is a fun one to have. I'm hoping the next guy does better at technology than I am. The other thing, certainly seeing Rhode Island from every single direction is important. And here in Newport, we have bird's eye view helicopter. And it's very inexpensive. The regular tour, I believe, is like $79, but you can have a private experience that includes more. And there are places that they will land, if they legally can, and allow the group to go and enjoy. So certainly bird's eye view, including a helicopter tour. You can imagine looking at more than 100 castles and palaces, along with our spectacular New England coast. It is here in Rhode Island that you really see the last of that rocky coast. From Rhode Island to Florida, the east coast of America is pretty much sandy. So that's why it was so important that we brought you out onto the world-famous Ocean Drive for you to enjoy. Other things, again, in the ocean state, that we want to make sure that you do or have your clients do, we have partners in Newport here and also in South County that do kayak and canoeing experiences. National Geographic's named Narragansett Bay one of the top 12 adventure destinations on Earth in 2012. And we have what we call the blue ways. You're familiar with the green ways. These are paths that are significant to American history or to history. The blue ways are very much the same. So you would have a guided tour where someone helps you kayak and canoe your way along the coast of Rhode Island, learning at the same time that you're enjoying. So those are definitely adventures that are fun. One of our great partners that many of you are already familiar with are Newport Jaguar Tours. They own 5 Lady Diana era Jaguars, and every one of them are driven by private guides that will give you an experience. And again, they will do all of New England, not just Newport, but they're very good at the Newport itinerary. Now, in the event that you have more than 3, because each Jaguar fits 3, they can take up to 18, and they're connected through technology. So the lead guy is actually giving the tour to the 5 cars. And you can drive, they will go down to the Ocean House for lunch. They will go out to Cape Cod for the day. But more importantly, they'll do a wonderful interpretation of Rhode Island. One of the great things that we have here in the state, and we've not featured it, is Providence as well. Providence is our capital city, and has had quite a renaissance. Rhode Island School of Design is there, and it is the #1 design school in the world. And if there's one thing our clients know, is they know the best and the biggest. They have the RISD Museum, Rhode Island School of Design Art Museum, and they do special collection tours as well there. So if you have someone that's staying for a long stay, they're worried about weather, maybe it's going to be a day where they can't really get out to the beach, or this might be a great opportunity for them to go up and enjoy Providence. Providence also has 150 pieces of outdoor art. And there is a company called Avenue Concepts that actually does a great interpretation on that as well. Johnson & Wales is there. It's the largest culinary school in the world. And 70% of Rhode Island restaurants are chef-owned. So we want to make sure that we're going to have experiences that will be memorable. I remember in my work, I work with media, going to Condé Nast and sitting in front of the desk and saying, Rhode Island is a foodie destination. And the editor looked at me and said, every place is. So it took the wind right out of the sails. But so it's so important, especially with your particular group, what is different about ours? And that's what we're going to make sure we interpret for you so they can pass it on to your very posh and appreciative client. I know what you put. Okay. The other group that we had with us was the Preserve in South County. And this is, again, what is the absolute exceptional experience that may keep this person here pre or post or in between taking a second cruise to a different part of New England. And the Preserve Sporting Club is that. They took on 3,500 acres, and hunting is part of what they do. But they have a full golf course there. They have a spa. They have zip lining. They have underground ranges, which I don't shoot guns. I don't know what it means, but for everyone that does, that's like woohoo. That's a big thing. So they have great culinary. And they have, one of the fun things they have is our hobbit houses, and they're built right into the side of the earth. And you can go in, they have between 6 and 15, depending on the size of group that you have. And you can go in and they actually come out and they'll do an all-inclusive meal for them as well. So we're looking to get them to do day experiences, and they are very open to have you come visit for sure, and experience this as well. Their hotel they've just built, it's a family, and unlike, a chain would come in and they would do things in a very specific way. These people are overbuilding everything. If you go into their suites, they're larger than my home. They have beautiful full kitchens in them, although most of their clients aren't actually cooking, but they absolutely are worth a thought. These are just a few things, and I've thrown them together, but I want to continue a relationship going forward here. I do have, Veronica has been wonderful, Missy has been great, Kathy Kennedy, all of you people, I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. And it all started with a cold call to Missy's office and about a 4-page email back explaining what you guys are about, and my jaw dropped. So my thing is, how do I continue this relationship? So this is where it's going to be at. We're going to email you my contact information and the location of the web page, which we're still building. We are creating a magazine that will have all of these experiences that we will be sharing with dock masters and captains. So when the boats actually come in, and not all of your experience has been decided, you will have the opportunity to learn and then use some of these and enjoy some of these particular opportunities. The other thing that we would like to do, certainly one of the good things to come from COVID is the Zoom. Well, I call it good, I actually dislike them, but the opportunity that we all have technology now, that we have a good relationship. For those people that I can't come to your office and sit with your team, when you're going to be talking about the New England itinerary, please invite us in via Zoom and let us have the opportunity to present and to teach your team. There's nothing, I've had the opportunity in 40 years of working in tourism to travel throughout the world. After I've gone to a destination, I'm much better at selling it from a passionate level. I want all of your team members to be able to do that as well. So let us step into your office, let us assist you with building your New England product. With that said, I certainly appreciate any comments or any needs that you may have for your particular client learning about these, because we are in the development stage. As we said, many of these products have existed, and it's just a matter of polishing them. For instance, the Newport Restoration Foundation, Doris Duke's home, they don't usually do private tour, but they're like, oh yeah, we'll do it. Why not? When you have all of this collection, and now you have a great opportunity for an additional market. So, any questions from anybody? Well, I want to thank all of our sponsors. We have Catherine here from Discover Newport. She is the local DMO, and their team here is really wonderful. We're going to be sharing all of our partners' information. They will be the ones that will help you in developing. You know what I find? When I work with travel writers, we used to do these massive media tours, and you put everybody on the bus and you tell them one thing, and they get you in a corner and they say, well, tell me this, but don't tell them you're telling me that. You know what I mean? I imagine that many of you who are real pros at what you're doing do the same thing. You have a particular experience you want to polish a little further, or you're looking for the inside scoop on a particular thing. We want to make sure that we're able to provide you with the right resource to get that done appropriately. So I hope that I've stayed within time and let you know that there are other things on the horizon that we're working with as well to add to the collection here, and look forward to seeing you again next year. My partner from last night, South County Tourism, really appreciated the time to get in front of you, and she's looking to work with the Ocean House next year to bring you all for lunch on the Monday, so that will be a great experience. So come back and see us. Thank you so much.